All right, we're going to do some cool drawing today. Uh, just going to talk to you and chat and draw. But look at this cool object I have. It's a metal thing, and there's a blue thing you can turn. I think it's called a ball valve, because look, there's a ball in there. It's a good fidget toy. I think you can get these at the hardware store. The hardware store sells tons of fidget toys. High quality. I mean, this is all metal construction. All right, let's draw. We're going to start with a rectangle in the middle. You can turn the paper if you want to. Add another rectangle on the bottom, smaller. Add a circle, triangle. Add some lines flowing out. And then a bunch of little lines right there. That's really good. Now I'll just kind of go crazy with it. Trapezoids. Now, who knows the difference between a trapezoid and a rhombus? That's right. A trapezoid has two parallel lines and then two not parallel lines. And a rhombus has two sets of parallel lines, like so. Let's work these into the drawing. If you don't know what to do, just kind of scribble in some lines like this, and you can work them back into the drawing later. Not everything in the drawing has to make sense right off the bat, or at any point. Sometimes a drawing can be a little bit boring, if it all makes sense. Because then, if people look at it later, and some of it doesn't make sense, I think that makes it a little more interesting. If they sit there and, well, they're not going to literally say, what, this doesn't make sense, but that's kind of in the back of their heads. They're thinking, oh, that part's a little bit weird or chaotic or disorganized or messy. It's okay to have a little bit of messiness. It's okay if it doesn't all kind of come together, if it's not kind of cohesive. I mean, think of some other types of art, right? Think about movies, right? Movies don't always make complete sense. A boring movie, like the movies that get bad reviews are often the ones that explain everything explicitly, right? The ones that don't leave anything up to the viewer to figure out. The movies that are a little bit more interesting are the ones that leave a little bit to the imagination, where the movie ends and you're like, huh. And you have to sit there saying, I wonder. I mean, obviously, it can go too far, right? Because I've sat in some movies where it ended and I'm just like very unsatisfied and frustrated. But there's some balance to be found there. So I think maybe the drawing equivalent could be like, I don't know, drawing something where it's not entirely sure, it's not entirely clear what's going on. Look, not everyone has to draw like me, all right? You don't have to draw like me where I'm just kind of drawing weird clumps of lines and shapes, but the principles can be the same. Or figure out your own principles. I haven't completely figured out mine. Every time I do a drawing, I learn a little bit more, hone my craft a little bit more. It's okay to take some breaks, rest your hand. I got my nails painted at an iron pour conference I went to a week or two ago. They had like a little fundraiser event where anyone could get like a little nail salon. You could donate like $1 or $2 and get your nails painted. And this whole thing happened under an overpass. It was cool, like where you might imagine like the setting of like a punk rock music video, except they were painting people's nails, and I just chose blue. It's kind of nice to have someone paint your nails. If you've never done it, I think you should try it sometime because uh, it's like someone else giving you. They have to give you their undivided attention because you have to be very careful when you're painting someone's nails. It's nice for someone else to pay that much attention to you, and they have to hold your hand. So it's just a nice thing all around. All right, so this drawing so far is mostly, you know how I started out with this rectangle? Oh, this rectangle has been used, this rectangle and this triangle, right? A little bit of this rectangle, triangle, circle has been used a bunch of times. Look, rectangle, 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 circle, semicircle, circle, circle, circle. Not as many triangles, but it's really just kind of the same thing over and over again, just in different shapes and arrangements. Let's add some more triangles. For some reason, in the back of my mind, I'm kind of thinking about like a motorcycle engine. One of the cool things about motorcycles is that so often their engines are like completely exposed, right? Like car engines they're like inside the car. There's a hood covering them. I don't know what it's called with motorcycles. Like the plastic they have sometimes it's covering part of the engine, cowling or something. But sometimes they don't even have that. It's just like engine out there exposed. I think maybe that helps because they have like these things that kind of look like this. Heat sinks, helps the air, helps cool the engine. And I've heard sometimes that's why it's bad for motorcycles to like stop too long in traffic because then they don't have the air flowing over the heat sinks, flowing over the engine to cool the engine, and they start overheating. I don't even know why I'm talking about motorcycles anymore. Oh, also, I went at the Ironport conference I went to last week. The coolest thing probably, or one of the coolest things was, this is my second time going to this Ironport conference. One of the coolest things they seem to do every year was the Trebuchet. Yep. The medieval siege weapon. They have one. I'm rotating the paper now. I hope that's okay with you. Watch out. Rotating. They have a trebuchet, and on one of the nights, they build a giant fort out of like pallets and other scrap wood. And then it's on one end of the field is the giant fort made out of pallets. And on the other end of the field is the trebuchet. And then in the trebuchet, they put giant balls of resin sand, resin sand is a material used in iron casting and metal casting in general because it's sand mixed with resin, which so that it hardens. And then they cover these giant balls of resin sand with gasoline and then light them on fire, and then launch them across the field with the trebuchet. It's awesome. And then they try to hit the pallet fort, and it's in the night, and so you just see these giant fireballs being launched across, and eventually they catch the pallet fort on fire, and it's just fun. Like the little pyromaniac inside of me that was setting things on fire ever since I was a little kid is just thrilled by that kind of thing. And I think there's so many other people like me at events like that because they're like, yeah, let's just set stuff on fire. And there's like people doing performance what's it called? Like performance art that pretty much just involves setting things on fire in different creative ways, often by pouring molten hot iron over it. It's just a fun event for reasons like that. All right, get a little scribbly. Drawing like random lines and random directions like this is good because it creates a little bit of visual chaos, which is hard to create if you think about it too carefully. You can come in later and refine it a little bit. I'm gonna go straight out. Add some sound effects. You can imagine that this thing is being created in a production line, in a factory, and you're one of the robot arms assembling it. Add the ratchet. I just got off a Discord call with someone who interviewed me for a school project, which was pretty interesting. They had to write a paper about something. I don't think they were writing a paper about me in particular, but they had some questions that I helped answer them. And, I regret a little bit that in the past people have emailed me asking if I could answer some questions about their school projects. Sometimes I think their school projects were actually about me because, sometimes if you're in school, art school, you have to, do a school project about like an artist or something. And sometimes I've just failed to get back to people. I don't think I've flat out told, maybe I have told some people no. I think most of the time I've just been bad at communicating. Some people I have told. I have gotten back to them. Like people sent me emails with some questions. The worst thing that has happened, which I want to apologize if this has been you, is people have been like, hey, Peter, can you answer some questions for my school project? And then I'm like, yeah, sure, send the questions over. And then they send the questions over and then I don't get back to them because then it's, well, look, in my defense, it starts feeling like I'm doing their homework because if you ask me to help you with you send me a sheet with a bunch of questions for me to answer, then I'm sitting there answering questions. I'm sitting there typing stuff out for a long time. I'm like, wait, whose homework is this? I suddenly have a lot of work to do. I know, that's a bad excuse. I have on several occasions sat there and typed out the answers to people's questions, okay? But I feel bad that on several occasions I'm like, oh, I'll get to this later. And then I never did. And then I'm like, whoa, that was months ago. That person, I hope they found another artist to interview. So if that was one of you, I just want to apologize. I'm sorry. All right, this is a pretty cool little thing here. This is just kind of like stacking things. Also, I think some people were stressed out in one of my recent videos when I was talking about doomsday prepping and apocalyptic stuff because real life is already too stressful or something. I'm sorry if that stressed you out. I apologize. I think I think about depressing things too often. Also, that's some of my favorite types of like video games and movies and books. That's my favorite type. One of my favorite types of media is like near future, post-apocalyptic type things. So it's just I like thinking about how to deal with the near future when things go wrong. But obviously, it would actually it's a messed up weird fantasy because obviously things would be awful if my life got even the slightest bit harder. By like if the world went bad somehow. So I apologize if that stressed anyone else out. It's not fun if it's anything but fiction to you. So, all right, this is looking pretty cool. So if I'm keeping it quick and loose and sketchy here, it's still looking pretty good. This looks like some kind of weird, like this could be like an engine over here, but this looks like it's either like a gun barrel, but also like if you get like an engine block, there's like some weird transmission thing. Anyone else know what I'm talking about? Like engines have this thing poking out of the front, like you pull it out of a car. I'm not sure what direction I want to go with this. I'm not planning anything. I'm just kind of adding lines right now. Oh, here's the pen I'm using. It's a Ink Precision Ink R2. I think this is a dollar store brand. That's what someone told me. I bought a bunch of these packs of them for really cheap. I think it's a dollar store brand. I haven't been to the dollar store and shopped for them, but that's what someone told me in the comments, I think. Should I fill in this gap, or should this be like an open section in the middle? Maybe I'll make some kind of darker, fill it in a little bit, like dark, solid black areas for contrast and depth's sake. You got to do a lot for the sake of depth sometimes. You got to give up some lines in detail for the sake of depth, but then your other lines and details do and feel a lot better. Yeah. Let's build up something right here. I might add some labels to this one. Labels are good for helping a drawing fill out the whole page if you don't want to actually make it fill out the whole page. Since I'm doing this as a live drawing, that'll be a good exercise, I think. The question is, there's a few different types of labels we can do. We can do labels in a kind of alien text, right? Like, let's see here. Here's examples. Label type 1 is, I can draw a line and then alien text that, looks like this. Like alien actual alphabet, right? I'm just kind of like making up letters. And there's a lot of different ways you can do these alien letters. Like it can be a doot doot doot. It can be something a little that's like swoopy like that, or you can do something a little more rigid and spacey. I don't know what I'm doing. Experiment with it. Get a little sketchbook and then just start. These are like, I like these little alien texts because they're pretty much little tiny self-contained doodles. The key is to make them look like they're in the same language, like they've got to be all related, right? The alien text isn't going to be as convincing if you make one look like this and the other look totally different. One looks like this and the other looks like this. I don't know. You know what I mean? They have to look similar but be different. And you can, for example, up there, you can you can do this and then kind of start repeating shapes because like in any language, there's things that repeat. So oh, do 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 do. I don't know. Hopefully you get what I'm saying. Anyways, that's one type, and then the other option is to just write words that you think are funny or cool. I don't know. The first thing that pops in your head, just write it. For me, right now, that was porpo. Porpo. Bottle. Slime. Right? Don't overthink it. Just whatever funny words pop in your head first. And then the other option is to actually try to label it like the drawing is something in particular. Like, for example, if this is a spaceship, this is the, you always got to have your primary escape pod. That's for the captain, the primary escape pod, and then the ablative armor. This one is not as hard to think of these because it's a spaceship. It has all the same things: a bridge, a cockpit, antennas, blasters, thrusters, engines. All the things that spaceships have. So you just got to pick which ones you want to have, how many, how big are they, where are they. So which one are we going to do this time? But of course, it doesn't have to be a spaceship. It could be a space station. It could be a car. It could be a motorcycle. It could be a weird little nano module that swims through people's bodies to cure cancer or something. Maybe that's what this one is. So maybe if that's what this is, it would have elements that are a mix between microorganisms and mech things like I think like a little plant, like a little biological cell would have what are those called, cilia, those little, like flagella. It would have like mechaflagella, right? So you can get creative with mixing concepts together like that. I don't know if that's what this is going to be, because if I was going to do that, I would probably want to not do it live, because I would probably start Googling things and looking things up on Wikipedia to find cool words to add. I would look up how an actual cell moves, and I would look up some actual, mechanized things and learn how to combine the concepts together a little bit to figure out some cool words and elements to add to my drawing. Not to actually add to the drawing, because it doesn't matter exactly what you drew. It more matters what words you're adding in the labels. I hope any of that made sense. Also, I'm surprised that didn't smudge just now. I think I put my finger right on top of it. I'm using pretty much just some kind of nice, well, it's not nice, but it's like pretty thick printer paper. Just have like a pack of 500 of it over there. Just got it from like Office Depot. So the art supplies I'm using here are not that expensive or fancy, and I'm still getting a really fun drawing out of it. Okay, so don't overthink the art supplies. That's the way I've learned to not overthink art supplies. I need to figure out how to do that at the gym, because I think it would be really good for me if I started working out. But I think the problem is I have too much information in my head for a beginner at the gym, right? I've read too many random things on the internet for a beginner. Because I think a beginner at the gym can pretty much just go and do almost anything, just go lift some heavy weights, right? But the problem is, I've read too many things on the internet about, ideal workout routines and what you should eat and what you should not eat, and pre-workout, post-workout, and about like when you should, which muscles you got to work out so other muscles don't get strained or left behind. Or I'm just like paranoid about how to work out, and I don't even work out. Like it's paralyzed me to the point of inaction, when really it's better to do something than nothing. Like, I don't think I'm going to hurt myself when I'm just starting out, right? I think all those weird little things I've been reading online, not like I'm even searching it out, right? It's just you just kind of stumble upon stuff little by little. All that stuff I think is for people who have really been progressing and getting serious about it, and I'm not even doing any of it. But it's making me overthink everything. You know what I mean? I think that happens to people with art supplies too. Like, they're not drawing at all, but they've read so much about this kind of pen, that kind of paper, etc., so on and so forth, that they're like, oh, I don't know. But the way I tell people just to start drawing with literally anything is probably what I need to do with working out. Like, just go, run on the treadmill, lift some weights, just do it, and eventually I'll slowly start figuring it out. But I'm also scared of the gym for no reason. But I shouldn't be, because I'm good at telling myself to be confident. Also, I think I'm just lazy. I'm also making excuses for myself, so. But how cool would it be if I was ripped, huh? How cool it would be if I had like big muscly arms, huh? That'd be pretty kind of cool. Pretty kind of cool. Pretty kind of cool. I like this little thing down here. But I think working out it's not just for the arm. There's probably lots of good health benefits. Probably. I mean, it's what doctors seem to say. If I was going to label something, no, this is too spindly and weird to be the bridge of the ship. This is more like some kind of antenna thing. This is like, it's like some crazy tower for like a tower at like an airport, air traffic control. Okay, I need to finish this up. I think if something was gonna, if I'm not saying it is, if this was a spaceship and there was a bridge, which is where the captain sits to navigate, control the ship, it would be like right here. It's a cannon. We need more cannons. This is the engines here. More cannons here. Big ones down here. Double barrel. I don't know what this thing is. Maybe this is for like docking. It seems too spindly to actually shoot out of. See, this is the equivalent of a confusing ending in a movie. It's like, what is that thing for? Who knows? Okay, now we add some labels. Adding some dense writing here. Oh, sorry, it's off camera. Sorry. Scribbling. Add some spaces to the words. This kind of, when I write like this, it's kind of like supposed to kind of look like words from a distance. Like you can't quite make them out like they could be words, but you're just like a little bit too far away. You need to squint, maybe. Down here. I kind of like, this is the reason I do this because I like how the diagram looks more than what the diagram actually says, right? The content is secondary. In fact, almost inconsequential. Don't care. Yep, and then these two go together. It's an important part. Maybe I can kind of want to make like a little bracket thing like this. Well, that was kind of messy, but it'll work. I should have planned that part out a little better. Okay. Also, it's just fun scribbling like this. If you have a good pen, scribbling is just fun. Maybe I'll make like a little box. Like there's like a little subset of important information here about the engine. Write some in there. Yeah. I could do like a circle, maybe no, it's circle is a nice thought, but it's also, it can be too, I do have a circle template somewhere. A circle, if you make a circle a little, if you don't get it quite right, then it's really obvious. Just gonna do another line. This part's important. Okay, we come back over here. I can zoom out a little bit so you can see the whole thing. Yeah. You can develop your own little scribbling nonsense style. Just get some scrap paper and just practice scribbling nonsense. It's fun. Go up and down, little circles, swoops. I could probably be doing a few more like crosses because at least in English there's a lot of like T's and F's things. A few more dots too wouldn't hurt. Let me go back and add some dots to things like J's, I's mostly. Yeah, I think that helps. Okay. And then you can add a title. Like, what is this thing? This is the and then yep, the little subtitle. Nice. I like that. What do y'all think? It's a nice quick one. And then if you want, you can add other little things. Like you could add like a little box here with some details, some stats, like when it was built, its range, its power, who it's piloted by, stuff like that. Whatever other details you want to add. Thanks for watching, everyone. It's a fun little one. It's a cute little short little. It's adorable. It's cute. All right, have a good day, everyone, and take it easy. All right, bye.